Greetings in the name of Yahuwah and His Son Yahusha Mashiach. My name is Malak Shalomo. Today is the 7th of May 2024. It's 1:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And let's just go over yesterday's trading. And let me do a trade recap here on my trade on ES. So let's start from yesterday, right? So in the ETH, we had this retest here of yesterday's close. We moved up and into the open here. We had, let's see. Right, so the open was right here. So we had a retest of Camarilla R3 at the open. Camarilla R3 is this line right here, that red line, which was at, let's see here, it was at approximately 51.7325, right? So we had this retest of Camarilla R3 at the open, provided a nice long up to floor pivot R1. We started to consolidate, rotate around R1 for quite a while. Had this little dip down here at around 12:30, I would say, roughly. Had the pushback up above R1, which was at roughly 51.83, somewhere around there. And then we had that breakout above floor pivot R4, where I was making some mistakes yesterday. I was going short. Eventually, I caught the breakout of this R4 right here. So that was the trade yesterday. So we're moving into today's session. The ETH opened bullish. We went sideways mostly around yesterday's high until, let's see, the open here at 9:30. We tested Camarilla. Oh, let me just point out some. So with the bullish activity from yesterday, we had a higher value relationship on the Camarillas. As you can see, R3. Let me just put that into perspective. 1 second. Right, so R3 moved up from this level here all the way up here to roughly, I think it's 52.20.80. And Camarilla S3 also moved up today to 51.92, and it moved up above previous days Camarilla R3. So that's a higher value relationship right there, right? And also the central pivot is at 51.90. That's that blue line right there, creating a golden pivot zone. So in a higher value relationship, golden pivot zones are usually a good place for a buy, like a retest, right? So this kind of setup, this golden pivot zone, which is below Camarilla S3 and central pivot, that's a good spot for like a retest buy, right? So you could see from the price action that price was strong, never came back down to this top central pivot, never interacted with the central pivot at all. Right, so this is the central pivot here. Top central pivot, bottom central pivot, and central pivot. So you see price never came down and interacted with the central pivot range at all, right? So it's bullish, safe to say that. And let's see here, take this off. Right, so ETH is bullish coming into the open here. Let's see. We shot up. We got up to R1, just below R1, had these wicks, pulled back here to the mid, 52.10.75, and you can see price actually came back to around this level. But this, I'll point out that later on because it was kind of like one of my targets. So while we came back here, consolidated, tested this mid level here or just above it at 52.13, got that retest of R1 and floor pivot and Camarilla R3. So they're basically in the same spot, right? You see that red line and that yellowish line below. So that's Camarilla S3 and R1, right? So now I went over to this chart because it's kind of cleaner, and I get to show you like the Camarillas and everything on a kind of cleaner chart, right? So now I'm gonna go back over to my messy chart and kind of show some other stuff, right? So now I have the VWAP bands, right? Right, so this is the same chart, just a little more stuff on it. So we have the Camarilla R3 here and R1 providing like a resistance or slight rotation around that area. Also, which is this 5220 area, right? So that's kind of creating like a mid-level and we're just rotating around this. Now, what's providing resistance here is this first upper deviation band on the VWAP. So I'm just breaking down how I'm looking at this trade, right? Everything is looking bullish, but I'm thinking about going short because of these wicks here at the first upper deviation. Now, we're not officially bullish until we hold above here and we're using this as a retest level to go long, right? This is just an effort off of VWAP, buying from the mid. That's just an effort to create like a uptrend until we get above this first upper deviation band. That red line is not officially a uptrend for me, right? So you can see from the open, we retest, we try to test above, keep on getting that rejection. R3 broke above, rejected by this first upper deviation, came back down, held way above VWAP, came back up to test it, failed again, came back down to VWAP. So my thing was looking at it like this. I started to go short here at R3, right? But I had to hold a little bit longer because I had to wait for like the retest of this first upper deviation band here to see if we get another continuation to the downside and probably test VWAP, right? So when I entered, am I in, let me see here, hold on. The wrong one. Right, so you can see some executions there. Right, so now I stepped out on one of these long trades. I think on the paper trade only, but I held like the official trade, right? So as you can see here, entered some shorts here to the top and took it down here to VWAP. Now that's only on the paper trade, right? But on, so let's say roughly 52.24 added to the position. So this is my PA account here. I'm gonna show some executions here, right? So was going short here from around 1305, which is 105. Started at 52.21.50. Added, added here again at 52.21.50. Added here at 52.24.50, 52.25.50, and another add here at 52.23.50, and took that down to 52.14.50, right? So after this big drop here, I just trailed my stop down to secure. Let's see, that drop came down to 52.12.75. So I put it to roughly like 1.75 points up here to kind of safeguard, because I know like when you get these big drops, you get that reaction. You see how it pulled back up to 52.18. So this was the profit on the day, 12.17.75. Let's see, on the other evaluation account here, took way bigger size, so came up with 4,940, right? So that's basically the trade. It was a upper deviation breakdown from Camarilla R3 and floor pivot R1, creating a double pivot zone. So this area in total here, this area was creating the resistance using multiple like indicators, right? Which is my upper deviation and this Camarilla R3 and floor pivot R1. So you can see how much resistance they tried to push up from this level. Buyers tried to take it up, but I was looking at what was going on Vwap as well, and the buying just didn't look strong. You know what I'm saying? So I also noticed something on Bookmap, like they pull liquidity at a certain level and we didn't get any follow through. So all of these are things where you look for when they clear liquidity and they don't follow through that clearing, then that has to be weak buying because if they were strong buyers, they could easily push through that level, right? Let me just go here to think with Bookmap. Let me see if I could show you what I'm talking about if it's still on the chart. No, it's the time has passed already. Let me see if I could see any examples here. Yeah, so there's no examples here where I can, but what I'm saying is this, right? If we move up, if this, let's say this right here,
By Iceberg and Pew.
if this continues bullish and these guys here pull their orders, right? And this stops right here and doesn't continue through the pull orders where there's a vacancy, then that's weak buying because the strong buyers would just have no resistance and be able to move through this level, right? But if they stop right here and kind of consolidate and pull back a little bit, that's leading me to believe that we're gonna get the sell-in. So that's one of the things I was looking at to go short, right? So basically my highest level here entry was 52.25.50 and came down here to 52.14.50, right? So that was a cool little trade there, man, using first upper deviation band and on the Vwap and Camarilla R3. And this could have went any which way because being a higher value relationship on the Camarillas, this could have acted as support on the breakout of Camarilla R3. A lot of people probably went long above these levels here, above R3, right? Because that's what they were trying to do. You can see them every time we get above R3, you get these big bursts, right? Big bursts. But they just didn't have the enough buying power to really, because somebody was selling at this level, right? So whoever the smart money was, they bought at this level here, seeing that as a bargain, and just pump price up until they got to R3 and started selling. Because they may have noticed that there's no big buyers buying with them. So if they know they're the only person moving price, they know this could be short-lived and start selling at these major areas here. And they even started at as early as the open, right? Get up to R3, sell. Buy a little more, sell, 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 sell. And then they eventually bring it back down to a discount price in their eyes, and they could even take it back up again, you know. All right, y'all. So it's Malak Shalomo. You all trade safe and stay blessed.